Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the PlotCast. I'm your host, Nate Slater.
And I'm Chris Sambrook, and today's show we will be diving into the world of horror.
Ooh.
Yeah, we will be revealing our personal top five favorite horror movies. We can't wait to see if you guys agree with our picks or if you think we're totally off base. But grab your favorite safety blanket and get ready for our favorite nightmares.
So, originally, we talked about doing this during Halloween weekend, but we just couldn't do it due to the fact that we had to do the Gen V Season 2 review. So, we decided, we're not going to do it. And then we started talking after the fact, and we just started hyping each other up and talking about all these horror films that I personally didn't even think that mattered to me until we started getting into it. So, I just said, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do it anyway.
Yep. So whether you're a longtime horror fan or just holding on to the spooky season vibes that just passed, these are the movies that kept us up at night, or at least made us double check the locks on our doors. Um, but we'll each share our own list and explain why we chose them, and maybe argue a little because let's be real. Uh, Horror fans never fully agree with anything. But kicking things off, Nate, in no particular order, do you want to start us with your first pick?
All right. So, how we have this, at least how I have it, like all they're my top five. They're all great movies to me. We do have some honorable mentions, but we'll get to that after we do our top five. Like you said, Chris, in no particular order. I'm gonna start with the one that for sure has to be number one. All the others just they're good, but they don't compare. Which is John Carpenter's The Thing. It's not just a horror movie. It's a sci-fi alien movie. It's you
Well,
know,
it just the effects alone were a statement of the time.
yeah,
Uh,
1982.
yeah, the spider head,
Yes.
like nightmares. That was nightmare fuels. I mean, like I was born in '88. I didn't see it until way later, and when I did, I was probably way too young to see it, but that stuck with me for like ever.
Yeah,
A
and
lot of it did.
it is where the whole Among Us kinda came from. Who is the killer? Who is, the alien? Who is the one that's not right? And it's more of a kind of more of a psychological horror if you think about it. I mean, it's got everything. It's body horror, psychological horror, um, kinda like,
A murder
isolation.
mystery.
Yeah, murder mystery, isolation horror because 'cause they're in the middle of what, the Arctic or whatever.
Yeah.
And let's face it, Kurt Russell, one of his best roles.
Oh, for sure.
If he wasn't on the map by then, he that helped soar him to great heights, in my opinion, because that was great. I watch it every time that I get a chance to. I mean, I don't watch it as much as I used to, but I have a friend that, that's the saying, Halloween time, he's gotta watch that movie, and last year I went over there and we watched it, and he's like, "Oh, this is my favorite horror movie." I'm like, "Mine too." So that's pretty much my number one there. Like I said, everything else is not going to be in particular order. But Chris, give me yours.
All right, so yes, this one I guess will be the one that I have watched the most. It is a part of a franchise I still love and stay up to date on. While it has definitely had its ups and downs, this one is absolutely my favorite, and that would be Aliens. So that would be
Ooh,
the second in the franchise, or at least uh, as it was made, not
yeah,
chronologically. But it is definitely more action oriented than the first one. So I guess I feel like the horror vibes still exist, but I feel like it goes beyond that now with, there's definitely scenes where you can be like, yes, they're doing the right thing. Yes, they have a chance of survival, unlike most horror movies where it's this thing is traveling around and it's likely going to just kill everyone. At least with this one, Ripley what had warned them from the very beginning. They went in fully prepared, and they did end it in the way that they thought they would have to if shit hit the fan, which it did. So I think what makes this stand out more is the fact that it wasn't fueled by horrible mistakes. Yes, the initial going there, but that was due to corporate greed, as is most of the movies, is related to the corporation screwing over the little guy. Um, but this one felt great when they just destroy those aliens at the end. Nuke it from space is the only way that we could be sure.
Now, I wanna interject and just say, I've never seen any of the Aliens movies aside from Aliens versus Predator 1, which I thought was decent. I didn't think it was amazing or anything, and then Aliens versus Predator 2, which I didn't like at all, but I have seen a part of, like, Aliens Resurrection or whatever, but it was, like, 5
Yeah.
minutes,
Yeah, no,
so it
no,
didn't
no,
do
no.
anything for me, but I'm just saying, from the outside looking in, I've heard great things about the Alien franchise. I really don't know anything other than from those movies.
I think what stands out the most with the xenomorph is it looks horrifying. Like it is a masterclass in monster design for any horror movie.
Yeah.
Um, and it's not just how it looks, it's how it moves, it's how it lives, just its whole process. um you have the fact that it will kill no matter what. It does not give a crap. It will destroy you unless it's looking to breed, at which point
Interesting.
it will kidnap you, it will lay some eggs next to you, and then the real horror begins.
Okay, so it sounds a lot like similar to The Thing in a way that it's a alien kind of sci-fi horror.
Oh, for sure, for sure. The sci-fi is a given. Obviously, it's in space, and I feel like sci-fi horrors are my favorite because anything can happen. When
Yeah,
you're on Earth, you're restricted to our environment. We have home field advantage, right?
yeah.
When it comes to aliens coming here. But yeah, it's it's definitely, I mean, just look at the damn thing. I remember being a kid just absolutely tormented by it, scared shitless, to go to sleep at night. The xenomorph is the perfect example of how to scare the crap out of people. I
I
mean,
mean,
just imagine that thing, because one of the best techniques they use throughout that film is when they have an entire scene shot and then the thing moves in the background at the end. You just had no idea it was there the whole time.
oh, so it kinda does like a
It blends
it
in
blends in,
perfectly.
almost like
It
Predator except no camouflage.
exactly, even better than Predator. It is the background, and you don't know until it moves that it's even there.
That's
That
cool.
is, and it's an effect that they still use today. They recently had the Alien Earth TV show, which is, in my opinion, phenomenal. It's a great step back to its horror roots.
Okay.
Um, it's definitely one of those shows and movies and franchises in general. I know that Romulus was the most recent movie, and again, it was still pretty good. It's one of those franchises that can go forever, and it's got a deep lore. It's got, the fact that it ties in through an entire history. You have the corporations, you have the people that work for them. I know that there are technically links to Blade Runner. So you do have the whole androids aren't really affected by the aliens. The aliens
I'm
aren't interested in them.
I have
But
heard through the grapevine that I think the new Alien show that you're talking about kinda null and voids it a bit, the connection, but I don't know. I was just going off of stuff I saw online recently.
not necessarily. They are, so the show is actually taking place before the original movies.
Okay.
It's not so much that it null and voids it, it's that it changes our perspective on how the history of these things really takes root.
Okay.
because everyone just assumed that the first Alien movie is the first time we really saw it, and then, of course, Prometheus and Covenant kind of changed that, origin, but, again, could have been offshoots going off to this different land, and most of them die, so there was no real connection back to Earth until now.
Okay. So, I mean, I'd say you feel pretty passionate about that because you've talked longer than I did about The Thing, but you're talking about a
Yeah,
whole franchise really at this
yeah,
point, and Thing really only has the prequel, which, unfortunately, I feel like if it would have been made shortly after the original Thing came out, it would probably would have been done a little bit more to people's liking, but we
yeah.
won't get into that. Anything else you wanna say about, Aliens?
Oh, no, no, so we'll jump to your second pick.
All right, in no particular order, my second pick is gonna have to be Evil Dead, the remake. I know people are gonna be like, "Well, what about the original Evil Dead?" I feel like the original Evil Dead is a really good movie, but as in terms of being dated, it is very dated, and I feel like Evil Dead remake was a fresh take, which kind of it's right now until we see what happens with the franchise. Is it really a remake or is it a remake just a name? Oh, that remains to be seen. But I think they did a really good job of capturing the essence of the original with a twist, changing, the main character instead of Ashley Williams, Bruce Campbell as a guy. They had I think it's Mia. I think she did a really good job in being kind of the strong damsel in distress because she starts out as that, she's a druggie, her friends take her there in, hopes of trying to get her to get clean and she just can't really take it cuz she's in in her own kind of terms weak, and then her friend ends up reading an incantation in the Book of the Dead, spawning horrors that are very, very terrifying. Gruesome deaths ensue, uh, possessions, and by the end of it, Mia goes from the weakling that can't, kick a drug habit to killing demons. And just the body horror was good, the gore was amazing, and the dread was there. Like
Oh, for sure.
you weren't sure by the end of the movie if she was gonna make it out,
If
but
anyone was gonna make it
yeah,
out, period.
spoiler alert,
Yeah.
um, she lives after she dies. So,
Yeah.
but I thought
I
that was
in a
really good.
way, technically, everyone dies.
Yes, that is true. Some people get a second chance, and then it was a nice little nod there at the end because we didn't think, you know, we were hoping Bruce Campbell would come back. And at the very end, he has his own little end credit scene where he goes, "Groovy."
Groovy.
Although I do think there was an alternate ending where he showed up. I can't remember. But anyway, that's my second pick. Big fan of the Evil Dead franchise as a whole. The the sequel to this Evil Dead remake was pretty good too, which gave callbacks to Evil Dead 2 Dead by Dawn,
Right.
as it's also
Evil Dead
known as.
Rise, right?
Yeah, Evil Dead Rise. And then the next one I'm excited for, Evil Dead, I think it's Burn.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're gonna tie all these together, Evil Dead remake, the original Evil Deads, with Ash, Army of Darkness, and this film. I mean, they did
Right.
tell us in Evil Dead Rise that there are 3 books, 3 Necronomicons. So Ash has one, Mia has one, and then there was another one in Evil Dead Rise. So let's
Yes.
see what
Fun
happens.
fact, for fans of Marvel, Ash actually appears in Marvel Zombies versus the Army of Darkness,
Oh, okay.
which actually ties everything that happens with him with the Marvel Universe.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, at the end of Army of Darkness, he does go back to the future. It depends on which version
He
you
goes
see, actually.
somewhere. Yeah,
Yeah,
he probably goes straight to, the, Marvel Zombie universe,
yeah.
and, things aren't so great for him there either.
Hopefully, Ash makes his return in the next one. What is it? I said it before. Burn. So
Yeah,
hopefully, he doesn't get burned too bad. So,
right.
Chris, moving on. What is your next movie?
So my next movie is, while still a horror movie, the reason that I like it is because it's like another movie franchise that I really love. The movie in question is Insidious 2. I have enjoyed a lot of Patrick Wilson's horror movies. We've talked about The Conjuring on
Yeah.
here, um, and his connection with James Wan. So the Insidious franchise is, in my opinion, it's overlooked a lot, but I really enjoy it. I know a lot of people got a little turned off when they were like, "Oh, astral projection, that's what this movie's about." But obviously it introduces ghosts and demons. So it definitely falls in the horror line. But yes, the second one specifically, what I love the most about it is it feels a lot like the second Back to the Future movie. They don't necessarily travel through time, whereas when they are in the astral plane, there is no time. So they do actually travel through the events of the first movie.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and there's some explanation behind certain things that happen. But it is a great movie. I know a lot of people hated it. I think it was the lowest rated of the Insidious movies.
Ooh, that's not
Yeah,
good.
but I just feel like people disliked it because they didn't see it as a horror movie
Yeah, it was a
because of
little bit
its main
different.
premise.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thoroughly enjoyed it,
Mm.
and that second one especially because of those kind of time travel-y, not so time travel moments. But yes, it was again also dealing with ghosts, dealing with demons. Actually, the main part of the franchise. I know there was some prequels and such, but when you're dealing with the main family, those movies were pretty good. Um, yeah, I mean, there's not too much more to say about it, but it is definitely up there as whenever I think of favorite horror movies, that is definitely one that always pops up.
Interesting. I've only ever seen the first one. I remember really liking the first one, but I am also a fan of Patrick Wilson. He's a great actor. Love to see him in more stuff other than horror, but we get little things here and there with him, like we talked about before, Aquaman and stuff. But great actor. That's all I got to say about it. I guess my next one is gonna be. I mean, it's kind of cop out because I want to put it because originally they were gonna have a full cut of it remake, but Chris and I talked and said no, you got to pick one. So I pick it part one, the remake. Really well done. I was a fan of the original. I believe it was a made for TV movie with Tim Curry. Really, that was really good. Part two of it, of that version of it, wasn't really that good compared to the first part. And I feel like part two of the remake was way better than the original part two, not trailing too far behind it part one remake. I've said remake so many times, but
Right.
I'm trying to get my point across, people. It the remakes, in my opinion, are better than the original.
Oh, they are far superior. I mean, they
Yeah,
have the technological advancements for sure.
yeah. They
I
have Bill
think when it comes
Skarsgård.
down to yes, Bill Skars well, Tim Curry was just as creepy. Tim Curry
Yeah,
for his time was perfect in a lot of ways.
magnificent, magnificent.
Um, I feel like when they did the remake, though, they had a lot of things on their side. And just the technological advancements, is the major thing. Because when Stephen King obviously wrote it, he wasn't limited by CGI budget.
Yeah.
Um, so when they actually made that second part for the TV movie, um, it looked horrible, even to like the standards back then. Um, a lot of people were kind of put off. It wasn't horrifying. It was more what?
And also
Um,
too, I felt like the adult versions of the children cast, they could have done better with some of them.
they
They
could
they
have
could
done
have
way
gotten
better.
better
Yes.
actors. But, other than that, as far as the original goes, it's good it was good for its time, but move over because we got the remakes. But It Part 1 was a great starting point for people who have no idea what it's about. It is about, but it definitely was up there in the horror factor. Bill Skarsgård's freaking performance, amazing. I put his performance, his evil clown performance, up there with Heath Ledger's Dark Knight. They just brought something special to both of these versions of their characters. And if Heath Ledger was still around, he would have been Joker again. And Bill Skarsgård is still around, so guess what? He is Pennywise again. So welcome
Yeah.
to Derry. Started watching it. Gonna continue to watch it. Hopefully, it's as good as both these remakes. But yeah, that's what I have to say about that. You want to
All
chime
right.
in on anything, or are you good?
I honestly am I a huge fan of a lot of Stephen King's works. Obviously, it's a mismatched like bunch. Like there's no cohesion between movies.
Yeah.
But as far as that franchise specifically, it was very faithful, and it was done very well. Again, Bill Skarsgård is perfect for that role, and I no, yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I'm very excited to see where they're gonna go with Welcome to Derry, and I can't wait. I'm sure we will be doing a podcast review of that show when it
Yes.
finalizes. So my next pick will be Train to Busan. It is a foreign flick, but if you're okay with watching things with subtitles or even dubbed, it is definitely worth the watch. It is quite possibly my favorite zombie type movie. It definitely digs into the fear of something happening really fast. It happened way behind them as they're moving forwards, and not only is there zombies on the train, which, there was one sick person led to, the
An
entire
outbreak.
train eventually getting affected by it, but you also see on the outside how fast it traveled too, because as they were traveling across the landscape, so was the virus in such a
Yeah.
fast progression that even when they got off the train at the end, they had to grab another train.
Yeah. I mean, I have seen the movie, and I honestly forgot how good it was. So I'm glad you made this pick because now I want to watch it again. Yeah.
Yes. The second movie, it did have a sequel, Peninsula. It's still good in its own merits. It's not as good, um, but Train to Busan is definitely my favorite zombie pick for sure.
Okay. Yeah, like I mean, did I have a zombie pick on here for as a favorite? Not necessarily. I mean, we have honorable mentions. We'll get into that. So is that all you have to say about it, other than
Yeah,
what you said?
just go watch it. It's just one of those movies that you should experience.
I agree. You just if you're someone who's not up to subtitles, just dub it. Nothing wrong with that. Nobody will judge you, especially in your own home. Maybe your cat, but if you have one. So my next pick is something kind of a little different just because it's two movies in one, which is From Dusk Till Dawn by Robert Rodriguez. It starts off as a heist movie, and then by halfway through it, it turns into a vampire bloodbath, and it is off the wall. It's got comedy, action, uh, kind of horror, but it's just the experience itself. It's a roller coaster. That's the best way I can describe it. It's a
Yeah.
roller coaster of what the fuck. And
It has so many quotable lines. What were
yes.
they, psychos? Psychos do not explode when sunlight hits them. I don't care how fucking crazy they are.
And we won't go into some of the stuff that Cheech Marin ends up
Yeah,
saying in there. He gets very lewd, but one of the favorite characters in it for me is Sex Machine. He's great, but he did the makeup. He does the makeup and art
it's
for a
Tom.
lot of movies.
Yeah, I forget his name. You're right. He does the makeup for. Actually, he's one of those masters of horror because he's done so many horror movies.
Yeah, he's acted
Uh,
in them, did the, effects for them. He's a master. He was even in the latest season of Walking Dead, the one with Negan and Maggie, which I liked his character. I didn't necessarily like the whole Maggie storyline, but the Negan storyline was great. So, From Dusk Till Dawn, very quotable, as you said. A lot of great actors. I mean, I think that was one of Selma Hayek's beginning roles. Who else was in there?
Quentin Tarantino.
Yes, let's take a minute
To
to,
talk
like
about how when he turns into a vampire, he looks more like Frankenstein.
yes, and I feel like that was the movie that he was like, "Alright, so I don't have to direct this at all. I I'm I can just be as weird as I want because my good friend is making this movie. Let's do it." And he plays, Richie, George Clooney's character's, crazy brother, and yeah, he does a really great job. Quentin needs to act more. You know, he loves to be a writer director, but I think he'd be perfect in so many other things as an actor.
He does. He acts in quite a bit more than you'd think, but they're always like weird offshoot movies. I remember a Japanese western he
Oh,
did.
yeah, Django. It was Django,
Yeah, that's
Japanese
what it
Django.
was. I'm not
Mhm.
referring to Django Unchained. He definitely stole the title, that's for sure.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, no, he's done a lot of stuff. He just, he gets to pick and choose, and I feel like for a lot of it, he is helping out directors or helping people out by
Yeah.
being in their stuff. Um, but yeah, I don't think he's necessarily a great actor. He definitely isn't. He is someone who likes monologues too much, for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, you put him in that's the thing with him, you put him in the right role, he'll kill it,
yeah,
in my
or
opinion,
get killed.
or get killed, or both. Yeah, just both.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's, my 4th pick. What do you got, Chris?
Yeah, so the next one I'm going back to the sci-fi horrors. I have Event Horizon. That was
Ooh,
something I
that's a good
saw
one.
as a kid, loved it. I miss the old sci-fi horror where they weren't afraid to use real science or theoretical science
Yeah.
um and just show it. These days, especially with commercial stuff, they try not to get sciencey because they think it makes people bored.
Yeah.
I think it really enhances the experience. That they them talk. In fact, Sam Neill has a moment where he describes a black hole. It was so perfect how he described it that Christopher Nolan used the exact same wording, the exact same explanation in his movie Interstellar.
Yeah, and I liked it too because when they talked about a space fold, it took me back to when I was a kid and there's this anime that I love called Robotech and how they don't go light speed. The way they travel is through space folding. And it's just going from one end of a black hole to another. That's it. Except in Event Horizon, it's a black hole to hell.
Yep. So yeah, so for a lot of people who are fans of the Warhammer 40K, they already know about this movie because while it isn't and was not made to be part of that franchise, people have made connections, made fan theories, and they believe that it is definitely connected. Now, I'm not going to get into that because that's not what this is for, but Event Horizon as its own standalone movie is, well, for one, perfect, in the sense that
Yeah.
you have an isolation horror, you have the perfect explanation of science, there's no questioning certain things. Um, there is an initial slow build, and then it does get out of control. I feel like it might have been rushed a little towards the end, but that's just a pacing issue. Um, but there was plenty of gore. There was, plenty of character development between certain characters. I know that some of it was just kill people to kill people.
Yeah.
There's a lot to it, in my opinion. And isn't confirmed, but I'm sure after watching it, most people would agree that it had to be inspiration for the Dead Space franchise.
Oh, of course, and I think they did say that. And another, game correlation we talked about before is that the black hole drive in Event Horizon kinda does make somewhat of an appearance in Silent Hill: The Room, in one of the endings.
Yes, yes,
So,
yeah.
that was a cool Easter egg. Yeah, uh, I'm right there with you, Silent Hill, wow. Event Horizon, great movie, it got me thinking about Silent Hill. So yes, that's how good it was. It got me thinking about a game that referenced the movie in a subtle way. I
Yeah.
I really enjoy
Event
that movie,
Horizon is just it's a treat for science fiction nerds.
and it's a cult
Um,
classic at this point.
it sure is. It sure is. I do know because when I was thinking about this recently, I looked it up and there is a comic book that
Hmm.
they just released. Um that I'm not sure if it is the comic of the actual movie or if it's a prequel or whatever. I also know, however, they are in pre-production of a TV show.
I think it's on Amazon.
I
Yeah,
know that they are not in any means to be filming yet, but they have apparently a killer script and they are just looking for the time to get it going. Um, but yeah, I can't wait to hear or see more of Event Horizon if it actually does come to fruition. We will see, but that standalone movie as it is, I mean, that movie is I know it had a troubled production,
yeah,
and there were many reasons why it could or couldn't be done. Had a relatively rookie director who ends up becoming one of the most famous video game directors or video game to movie directors ever. Um, Gave us the Resident Evil franchise. But yeah, it for its own movie, I'm surprised that so many people have never heard of it because it is that good.
yeah. And
Even
Paul,
though I believe this is of all of my picks, I believe this is the lowest rated on Rotten Tomatoes.
and we're not blaming you, Paul Anderson. We love you.
Yeah.
And your wife, she's amazing. She needs to do more Resident Evil movies. I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
maybe she will be in the next Event Horizon show or something.
Who knows? I mean, who knows? He might have a part in it. Probably not, but we'll see. So moving on to mine, I guess light horror, more action, underworld. Kate Beckinsale, she's still killing it today, folks. Uh, let's just be honest. Kate Beckinsale, you're bae. Just saying.
Yeah, she's definitely been one of my crushes for the longest time.
Oh hell yeah. And movie was great, especially the first movie. I felt like the strongest movies out of the franchise were the first and third one, but we're not here to talk about what's the best worst of that. Well, technically we are because the best is my pick here, my last main pick here, which is Underworld 1. I thought it was great. It was directed well by another director who ends up marrying the actress.
Yep.
So that's kind of funny. But it had, and the weird thing about it, it had her ex-husband in the movie too.
Yes, it did.
So anyway, I thought the cast was amazing. Everybody was on point. Even the guy who played Craven, like his name is Craven. It tells you right there he is, the coward, the betrayer. And I just loved it. It was sexy. It had the freaking action. It had the dark gothic tones to it. It it had everything you would kind of want from a senseless kind of vampire action movie. I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah, it
people
was
might,
definitely on the coattails of Blade. Yes, I agree with you. It had its own lore and it introduced us to the hybrid,
yes.
something that we hadn't really seen be done before.
Let's be honest though. You said it right there. It had the lore, and that's why, in my opinion, why it lasted so long. I think if they do it again, they're gonna reboot it, which makes sense at this point because
It went
Uh,
off the rails.
yeah,
Yeah,
especially 2 had a nice setup, but I felt 2 was a weak movie because they went
I
from
agree.
Underworld 1 to Underworld 2, and then they did a prequel to Underworld 3. I would have said do the prequel after 1 and then go into
Yeah.
2, but when you get to 2, it just gets a little too out there, and then the
I
next
feel
2 were
I think
horrible.
the big problem with the second one was at the end of the first one, we were super hyped up about this hybrid, and then
Yes.
we get to the second one and it fell short. He
Yeah.
wasn't anything. It didn't
Yeah.
matter.
Because he fought, the original wolf, or Lycan, and then he also fought a hybrid vampire Lycan also at the same time, so I don't know. And then she became like super powerful vampire that could go out in the day. And then by the next one, they get rid of Michael Corvin's character and make some dumb reason why he can't be in the movie. And it just got so bad. Anyway, we want to stop talking about this now. What is
Yeah.
your final pick, Chris?
So my final pick is a little out there. It is based off of a Lovecraftian novel or short story, I believe. Um, and this one is it's not well known. It came out during or I think it was just before COVID. So I don't know if it was really a success or not, but I like this movie because there's no escaping. This movie is called Color Out of Space, and it doesn't seem like much uh, when you read it on paper, but when you actually watch it, it's more or less just about a um, kind of like an alien attack. It's hard to explain it. It is something that has to be seen. It is very stylized in the way that it is filmed, but it is about like this Midwestern family. They get afflicted by this alien entity. The alien entity straight up is a color. It's a color that has
Okay.
never been seen by mankind, and it has very biological effects on the human body. And how it affects people is just absolutely insane. This is a Nicolas Cage movie,
Ooh,
which instantly a lot of people are turned off, like, "Oh, great, it's a goofy movie." It
not
is
me.
not. He is. It's a stellar performance. He is the father of the family, and it's just one of those ones that you know going in, no one's going to survive, and you
Mm,
wanna root for them the entire time, and just sick, horrible things are happening to each and every one, and there's no preventing it. You're hoping that there's a way out for them, but by the end, everyone's dead in the most disgusting, gory way possible.
that's sad, but it sounds
It
pretty
it
cool.
is. It is really good. I would suggest it to any horror fan for sure. It
What,
is
Lovecraft
definitely
fan?
yeah, Lovecraftian all the way, and it's just creative, it's stylized, it's acted really well, and, for the most part, it's an indie movie.
Interesting.
So the fact that it did as way the production was done so well, it is definitely worth a watch if you're into horror. But it's not for the faint of heart. There is
Okay.
some body horror in it that will disturb you.
Ooh. So, be prepared, folks. That's your warning. I have not seen it, but I am intrigued. I am going to check it out here sometime soon. So I'll let you know what I think about it, Chris.
All
And
right.
with that, we've gotten through our top 5 picks.
So yeah, I was going to say let's recap real quick. I chose Aliens, Insidious 2, Train to Busan, Event Horizon, and then Color Out of Space. Which ones were
And I
yours?
chose John Carpenter's The Thing, Evil Dead remake, It Part 1 remake, From Dusk Till Dawn, and Underworld. And I think both of our picks are really great, in my opinion. I think, yeah, you said your lowest rated one was Event Horizon, but it's a great movie. Check it
Yeah.
out. Especially if you're a Dead Space fan, check it out for real, and you'll see where they kind of got some of the ideas. Now we're gonna do a quick rapid fire of at least 3 of our honorable mentions, and I'll start. And I'm just gonna go through all 3 and give a little bit about it, and just get us to the end here. So first I have on here is The Hills Have Eyes, the remake from the early 2000s. That movie was so good, so messed up that I will never watch it again after my initial watch of it once. And I say that it was so good because it's really good at giving you the like
The
ter-
heebie-jeebies.
the heebie-jeebies, the, like, terror of what's going on. Like, first you have people that have been there, that who have been irradiated, who have been mutated, and they're just basically robbing people for whatever they have as they come through the desert, because there's only a small amount of them, and they're gonna do what they can to survive, and it gets very graphic, very disturbing, and I usually have an iron stomach, but this movie gave me, like, no. No. It was so good, I will never watch it again, and I think that's probably everybody's consensus about it. I'm surprised they made a sequel, but
Yeah.
going into my next one is Terrifier 3. I was never a fan of the franchise only because I didn't watch it until recently. Started off with like the little kind of introduction movie where you see Art the Clown played by a different actor. Then you get to Terrifier 1. You know, it's reminiscent kind of Evil Dead, kind of low budget violence and gore. And then you get into number 2, which is also kind of reminiscent of Evil Dead 2, where it's a little bit more slapstick by that point. And then you get to Terrifier 3. It is fully reminiscent of Army of Darkness humor and stuff like that. It definitely, as it went on, it felt more of like slapstick horror, violence, slasher than anything else. But
Right.
overall, it is the best out of the franchise. And although it's very campy, it is a great watch. Check it out if you're an Evil Dead fan. I think you'll get what I'm talking about. And finally, my last honorable mention is Resident Evil, the original Paul Anderson movie. If that was the only movie that he ever made and Sony ever made, it would have been perfect on its own, only due to the
Right.
fact that it could fit into that universe. But the studio and him and everybody kind of went a different direction. And instead of, interweaving it into the game storyline, they just decided to just throw characters wherever they felt after that and totally ruin the franchise. But hey, it lasted and then it got a reboot, and that didn't last at all because they're rebooting it again. And I have a feeling it's going to be rebooted again. So, yes, that
All
is
right.
my zombie pick. Chris, your turn.
So my honorable mention will be the movie The Fly with Jeff Goldblum. And that I think is again a body horror one that you want there to be a way for him to get back to normal. And as the movie goes on, you're like, there's no way. There's
That
no way.
was a
His
good film.
body literally falls apart. And you don't want it to be that way. You want there to be a cure or a way to fix it, and it's gross. Um, and then yes, so the next one that I'm gonna go with is also reminiscent with the Army of Darkness.
Okay.
Um, we have another Sam Raimi project, Drag
Oh,
Me to Hell. Did love that one. It is goofy in his own way, but is so filled with gore. Um, the acting is great in it in the sense of the main character. Everyone else around her can be over the top, but it's her reaction and her absolute terror that makes the movie work. And it has a killer ending. Loved it. Definitely give that one a shot. The next one, the last one for me, is another foreign film. It's called A Tale of Two Sisters. I believe it's a Korean film. I think it came out in 2003. And it is probably one of my favorite psychological ghost movies.
okay.
Um, it's, again, a tale of two sisters. Um, only in their home after one girl comes back, I believe, from a psychiatric hospital. She comes home uh, to her family, her dad and her stepmom, and she is plagued by ghosts.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
as you watch it, you start to realize that not all the things that she is seeing is malicious, as it
Okay.
seems. And it is absolutely an insane revelation as you watch it. Definitely give it a chance. It is just one of those movies that I think anyone who has seen it will recommend it.
All right. Well, maybe I'll check it out. And you guys should too. So, we gave you our top 5 horror movies, and we gave you a little extra there with our honorable mentions. And that pretty much concludes this episode of the podcast. Once again, if you guys do not know who we are Plot Hole Productions. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, and don't be afraid to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, I have something I need to say, Chris.
What's that?
Who are you gonna call?
Oh, Ghostbusters.
No, someone else. I'm your host, Nate Slater,
And I'm Chris Sambrook, and we'll catch you
in
in
the
the
void.
void.